I, state your name. No, I'm Herb Ivy. I go by the Captain on WBLM, classic rock, legendary rock and roll blimp here in beautiful Portland, Maine. This is my first job out of college, and I've been doing mornings for 37 years, which is pretty lucky.
Do you kind of remember that morning when you were on your way into work and you saw the hearts like the first time?
I do, and not knowing what exactly was going on, and my first inclination was, oh, that's right, it's Valentine's Day, I have to get something for my wife. So it was a good reminder. And then you would just hear, people would call in on the show, or you would just hear from friends, it's like, oh, there's one up here, there's, you know, when they were building this big building over here one year, there was one way up on the crane, and then so just discovering where the Giants' heart were each year were really cool. I have no idea if they grew in terms of numbers, in terms of, you know, the legend is there are several different pods of bandits out there, you know, doing stuff. But like, how did they get out there on Fort Gorges? And, you know, there's stories of like the ferry almost running over a boat in the middle of the night, and they would go, you know, Coast Guard would go look for the boat, and it had vanished. You know, but there was a heart up on Fort Gorges. So like, there's some magic going on for sure with the Bandit. As it went on and on, you know, every year it became one of the great rituals and one of the great traditions of the city. So I think, yeah, it was newsworthy. But the great thing is, I think this past year, how his family, you know, kept the tradition going, and people did it for him. And so this thing will continue forever. So he started such a wonderful tradition for all the right reasons, kept it secret, and now we carry it on in his honor.
My name is Sierra Fahrman, and I'm Kevin Fahrman's daughter. Right after my dad died, a bunch of people in the community came forward who had experience with nonprofits and foundations, asking if we would be interested in doing something in his honor and his memory, given how much he gave back to his community, specifically volunteering for local nonprofits. So it was originally an idea presented to us, and we started to pursue it, and then realized it was maybe a little bit more work than we were ready for at that time. So it would have been like 2 months after he died. And then in January of this year, an old band member of him, he was in a band in the 90s, reached out to us, and he's a PR person. And so we talked to him about he had experience working with nonprofits and foundations, and we started really getting it underway, trying to make it a reality, now being probably like 8 months out from when my father passed. And we decided that our first event would be logically on Valentine's Day, which gave us about like 3 or 4 weeks turnaround to pull it all together. And we were successful, which was great. We raised over $12,000 that night. Specifically, our first 4 beneficiaries were Friends Fort Gorgeous, Sail Maine, Ripple Effect, and Maine Academy of Modern Music. My father was a photographer, so he often, his volunteering was through taking photos for events or for the websites. My dad was a bass player in a band called the Van Go-Go's. He didn't think that he was very good at the bass, but he was a very avid musician and musical aficionado, I guess. So definitely had an eclectic music taste, which I think the playlist will show everyone. They were kind of a local cover band mostly. Actually played at both of Angus King's inauguration for governor. He was an adjunct professor at SMCC. So he taught mostly, he was an artist. He'd gone to Portland College of Art, or Portland School of Art, which is what originally brought him to Portland from Orono. And he taught 2D design, 3D design, a bunch of different classes at SMCC. And people were so concerned about it continuing, and I said, well, it's always happened, even if he wasn't able to, like last February, last Valentine's Day, he was alive. He had broken his leg and couldn't go out. So, but it still carried on, and so it was like trying to give pieces, like it is like someone will always carry it on. He started doing it because there's 1 year early on, which now has been kind of fact-checked for me, but I guess the hearts didn't go up for Valentine's Day, and then they ended up going up the next day, and it was like apology note of, sorry, like it doesn't have to always be 1 day a year. But he was inspired to, he was kind of concerned that it wouldn't continue on, so he was inspired to do it himself the next year and end up meeting the person who had been doing it previously, and they kind of collaborated. And that's how it kind of continued. And then he started doing the big banners, and just that's what part of what made him fall in love with Portland was the Valentine Bandit. So I think in that making him fall in love with Portland, it inspired him to also give that experience to other people. I think the seeing the spread of the hearts and like the imagery and connecting it to Portland has been really cool. I've been saying basically since he passed how strong community Portland is in general, and how the response that we've gotten has only proven that to me. I think the idea and the like theoretical idea of the bandit is beyond him. He wasn't the only bandit. He wasn't the one that started it. It's more of it is a community-based operation, and it kind of is everyone has the potential to be. It's just a choice whether you want to take the initiative or not. So kind of part of the foundation and part of the RIA slogan, Be a Kevin, was giving that option and enlightening people to the fact that, if you're inspired, you can be that to your own community.